as we're seeing here, there is going to be a change. Slick is now on the blue side because Team Unknown on that back foot chooses red.
And on top of that, we do have some substitutions here for Slick. We have Image and Zeus in for Kiki and Proden. Now, this changes the draft only a little bit. The biggest change I want to point out is the Twitch ban. Like that, we talked about Rigby seeming like more of a threat than he was, but good golly, was he dangerous?
Yeah. Whoa, no.
Oh, never mind on that other thing. Let's talk about this.
I was gonna bring up the ASOL prio that Slick had because that was a question mark on me, but Lucian Nami in this meta just is not the same Lucian Nami that we know previously. I also think that if you're going to be playing a Lucian lane, Lucian Melio is really just better. I feel like Melio right now in this current meta is just a lot better, but there's just so many more priority picks that you should be contesting. Because if Rigby was a Draven player, this would be a Draven slam with like a Nautilus or some other aggressive support, and this Lucian Nami would be slaughtered. It is Rigby answering with an Ezreal instead, and so maybe they're choosing to play around mid and top with a roaming support, which is what you usually see with Ezreal, or a Leona pick, which is that other weird pick to be with the Ezreal.
All right, it is Seraphine locked in to go with the Ezreal. We have our bottom lanes locked in here. So now, at this point, typically I would like to see the mid lane match. That way, you don't get some of the priority counter picks taken away. But I think jungler could also be a good pick here, if Death is confident in his ability to play into the Aurelion Soul.
Oh, a Wukong pick. Okay, I was gonna bring up the Sejuani pick as a prio that we were talking about previously in that last draft. I really like Aurelion Sol. Also a champ that I think not a lot of people play in ranked, but is really high pro, especially into Ezreal, is Vi. I really want a Vi R3 here to play with the Lucian Nami, just full all in on the engage counter or the engage play style. Give your top laner Kennen on 4 or 5 or a Rumble on 4 or 5, and you got right there a beautiful recipe of team fight success. Instead of Wukong kind of does the same thing, but he's a little less locked down compared to the Ezreal.
That's interesting because you said you wanted to see the Vi, and it was Team Unknown that decided to ban Vi. And that goes against what you were saying. Maybe it's a comfort thing where Wukong is a more familiar champion, and Vi is also strong into the Lucian Nami, because Lucian staying away from taking damage is one of the big reasons he's so strong. So I guess I can see it.
Yeah, Vi is also pretty good into Lucian because, like you said, it's the same thing as Ezreal. You want to lock him down and burst him down, and Vi is a point-and-click hard CC that you cannot cleanse and you cannot get. You can't dash away from it as soon as the cease and desist is on you. And with the Vi and volley bans, they're going to be picking Malphite out of side, which is interesting to me. I feel like the power of red is that you're able to pick R3 and R4 and cover R3 and R4 with your bans, right? You can cover a blind pick top if you choose to blind pick top with your bans of 3 or 4, 5. But instead, they just cover their Wukong pick and then blind pick Malphite when there's a lot of Malphite answers still on the board.
One of the things, though, is Team Unknown really favors the Malphite. It's one of their staple picks. They sub in and out their top laner the most out of their positions, and Malphite is I'm gonna say it, he's a rock in terms of he's picked by any of them. So I understand it, but you're right, there are a lot of answers to the Malphite. I don't know if Garen is necessarily an answer into it, but we saw earlier what Image is able to do on the Garen, and I imagine it's going to be very similar in this. The game point, the match point for Slick.
Yeah, Garen definitely would not be my first pick, and neither would Zoe. A lot of interesting interactions here in the draft. Like you said, I feel like there is a decent amount of comfort that's being picked up here, due to your back being against the wall. Hey, our bot lane has been scrimming and we're winning a lot with Lucian Nami. Sure, it might not be meta, but let's prio it. Hey,
Mhm.
we're gonna blind pick Malphite because we feel good about it. We've put a lot of reps into it. Hey, we've played a lot of Wukong comps. And to top it all off, I'm a Zoe player. Can we play Zoe? I think that's kind of what this comp is giving me. But right now, Blue's squad is looking really solid. I don't really know how Zoe and or excuse me, Wukong and Malphite are able to get onto Aurelion Sol and Ezreal when they have people like Garen and Poppy pushing a very big problem onto their shoulders. Lucian hates Garen. Hates
Mhm.
Garen. He
Mhm.
cannot do anything to him. You can dash away, but he's still on you because you are short range. Same thing with Zoe. What do you do against Garen? Oh, I'm going to sleep. Nah, I'm actually gonna press W and then just wake immediately back up. This Garen is a huge pick, honestly.
And very strong right now, tanky beyond reason with building tank or with building damage, I should say. The stride breaker into the Phantom Dancer is what we've been seeing and what we saw earlier today. And if he can be just that menace everywhere, then Slicker looking pretty good on that team composition and looking pretty hopeful for making this a quick 2-0.
And the biggest thing that I really want to point out is the scaling that's on Slick Squad. Ezreal, Aurelion Sol, Seraphine scaling, and Garen. Garen is a really big scaler as well. So if Team Unknown doesn't push the matters in their own hands fast, this game is really going to slip out of their hands. Eh, And the worrying thing is they don't really have a place that is going to push the tempo. Usually you want a jungler or a top laner or a mid laner or an AD carry or something, and it's what we usually call a bridge of something that is really strong early game, maybe doesn't scale as well, but if you have other scalings, then that's okay because that's what's getting your scaling into the game. That's why you see things like Vi, where you see things like Maokai, these champions that are able to get scaling champions to the game and help them to get to that point where their weakest point isn't as weak.
Lots of knockups coming out from the side of Team Unknown as well. We've got the Malphite Ultimate, Wukong Ultimate, Nami Ultimate, all of these crowd control measures that cannot be cleansed. I think that's an interesting thing to look at here. So maybe what would you have said to a Yasuo mid instead of the Zoe? Would that have had any other flavor that you would have preferred?
You'd be full AD into Poppy Garen, so those would be
Ah,
Thanos's, especially with the Seraphim behind it.
you're right.
I think it would have been really cool, but playing Yasuo into Poppy Garen sounds like a hellscape. So,
Mhm.
personally, I don't think that would be my answer. I would have preferred something with higher range, though. Zoe, I mean, you get you get clips of Zoe kind of one-shotting you from, like, Afghanistan, but, like,
Mhm.
I don't really consider her that long range of a mage. She needs a lot of setup for those really long range snipes. I would have
Yeah.
preferred something a little bit more long range. My mind right now is on Azir Corki just because we've been seeing it so much
Right.
recently. I don't think that that's really the case. I would have preferred something that play makes more, something like a Talia, like an
Mhm.
Ari, even Silas into that comp seems really good.
Yeah.
Or yeah, like a longer range, like a Xerath or something like that to kind of contest what Ezreal Seraphine are going to be providing to the table.
So Ezreal is typically picked when you don't want to focus on your bottom lane. He's really safe with that arcane shift and how long range he has with that mystic shot. So keeping him alive with the support of the Seraphine means that we should see the opposite of last game where we'll have that focus where image will be the priority and we'll get the pushing top lane. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. I think playing around Garen here is really solid. I also don't mind playing around Ezreal. I mean, he's not going to be using your lead as good as like a lot of the other AD carries that might hyperscale, but
Mhm.
Ezreal with gold is really solid. Especially when you're trying to deny Lucian Nami, who really needs to get that early advantage going. I think denying that from them, because if I'm really looking at Team Unknown's comp, the only way they really win this game is maybe Zoe permadiving mid or Lucianami just becoming an absolute menace. like Kiki was on Fiora. But like you said, into Seraphine Ezreal, I really don't see that happening.
All right, everybody. This is game number 2 of our finals. This is match point for Slick. Minions have spawned. We're seeing our chat go freaking crazy here on Twitch. Do we see any of the supporters for Slick in there? I see a lot of TU, but do you think they can do it, T-Van? Do you think that Team Unknown can pull out game number 2 and push us to a 3?
Do you want my caster answer or do you want my real answer?
The caster answer is we hope so, so we get a game number 3 regardless.
Yeah.
But the analysis portion of you, what are you thinking? We talked a lot about the way the drafts are, but having seen these teams play a few times as well, does that change anything?
Yeah, I really do think Slick just has a lot more advantages going into this. Their draft is a lot easier to play. There's a lot more win conditions. There's a lot of avenues in case anything goes wrong. Team Unknown doesn't have a lot of space for mistakes. This is why we see it, and I don't really like to bring up pro scene at this level, but that's why we see teams like T1 destroy LPL teams, is because LPL teams make a lot of mistakes, and LCK teams play comps that like punish mistakes fast. Slick's comp is kind of that same way. They punish mistakes fast, and TU is not giving themselves a lot of space to make mistakes. Wukong needs a lot of energy, a lot of time. Zoe needs the same thing. Lucian needs the exact same thing.
Dust Teams wants to go in onto death. He is slept. He is hit with the Q. Nice stop on the jump up from Magikarp. And Dust Teams makes it out without any real hurt.
Yeah,
and that's what we're going to see.
I was going to say, that's what we're going to see a lot, is Poppy just completely stopping Magikarp from doing anything this game.
One of my biggest complaints about Modified as a champion being a top lane tank player is his mana costs are very high. But we'll get to that in a minute because First Blood goes to Rigby on the bottom side.
And there goes WinCon number 1 from Team Unknown. Lucian being behind against Ezreal Seraphine is not what you want if you're a Team Unknown player. That's scary. And like you said, Big Ben, it's Malphite, baby. You have to conserve that mana fast. But Image is able to play these burst trades with Phase Rush. That's kind of why Garen is really good. Is you can just keep poking him down. You can trade HP and mana because you're mana-less, and you have a lot more reach in Malphite.
Magikarp wants to engage up here, but he is still Garen, and he has at least 1 point in that W. But meanwhile, Dust Teams ganks mid again and gets a kill onto death. But now, another fight here. Dust Teams and Magikarp fighting over the Scuttle Crab. It does go to Dust Teams. He picks up the buckler. He gets that shield. Magikarp can flash over the wall. They are fighting, though. Oh, he stops yet another clone. But it's on really low cooldown. Flashes forward, does pick up the kill there with the red buff Q. And I don't like that. How did he have that back up so quick?
I think he stopped his E, the little chart, because that is technically a dash.
I see.
E, and then So,
okay.
But I also think he thought that he got the W.
Yeah, I would think
that's
so.
Why he E'd the clone. So, a little bit of an awkward 1v1. I thought Dust Teams would win that really hard. But still pretty advantageous. It is Death that gets the kill, which is a lot better than Magikarp in my opinion. Zoe is gonna be win condition number 2 for Team Unknown, quickly becoming win condition number 1 with Calvier being solo boloed. So it really is the question of, is Magikarp able to get more kills onto Zeus?
And Magikarp steals away that crab. That was unfortunate for Dust Teams, but nicely done by Team Unknown. He is on the bottom side. I don't think it's going to turn into anything. Ezreal is very, very safe, and there's no pressure. There's no push here from Team Unknown. So Honey Guillotine, knowing that, is just going to jump forward. Rigby does as well. Calavir is going to dash away with the Relentless Pursuit, getting a few auto attacks down onto Rigby, but here comes the safety. Never mind. Death is here. Sleep lands onto Rigby. Kiroro gets that kill. Honey Guillotine flashes away, and I stand extremely corrected.
Slick just a little too early on that play for Rigby, excuse me. Very aggressive early on, trying to dash in, not realizing that his team was on the back foot. Death having the first rotate, finding a bubble as well.
I'm not seeing the bubbles even be cast.
That was insane. I hate Zoe. That's disgusting.
I
Like,
think the items are blocking my vision of when Zoe is casting the bubble. That is so crazy to me.
oh,
Really funny though, but here we go. Calavir is the target. Dust Teams plays that decently well, making sure the steadfast presence is there to stop the relentless pursuit, but Calavir flashes away, so effective gank regardless.
Yeah, getting the flash out's pretty good there, and it doesn't waste that much time. Rigby is still able to collect a majority of that wave. At first, that play for me was really, really big question mark because Rigby really needs those levels and that gold. Ezreal needs that. He wants those two items as fast as possible, and he's a very level-centric champ, right? I mean, a lot of champs like levels, obviously, but Ezreal very much more than a lot of them. So making sure that he gets that, quite useful. But another thing that is useful is this dragon that's going to be heavily contested here.
Magikarp is only level 4, and there are 4 members of Slick here. Magikarp does get stopped, and the Drake is secured. Zeus picks up the Magikarp kill, and that's a very Slick favored play. Kiroro might be caught here. Guillotine has the sweeper. They see him, but Rigby is caught in the Aqua Prison.
Yeah, it's just tempo mistake after tempo mistake. Both sides are trying to make plays, but not realizing where their teammates are in response, right? That last dragon contest, Calavir was nowhere to be seen.
Speaking of Calavir, he is going in. He does get exhausted. Honey Guillotine saving Rigby's life by doing so. That was quite a lot of damage coming out of him. And now they spot death and they have to back up.
Oh, but he goes in for a greedy Q. The bubble is going to be missed.
They dodge out the bubble. Death jumps in to try and get the empowered auto attack. Guillotine in some trouble. Death going to take some turret shots, but here comes Dust Teams. He goes in and gets the stun onto Death, and that's the kill. Rigby underneath the turret means he stays alive. Calavir gets hit and takes another turret shot. Zeus on the roam helps keep his bot laner alive.
Rigby doing a great job of staying alive there as well, and mind controlling Calavir to greed for that last kill. DOS Teams, great rotate, identifying that bot lane is the target, and not only is he going to get that excellent play.
Oh, he has 14 health. Flash Q. Zeus picks it up.
Yeah, a weird overstay there from the Nami, not having that much, but Slick is going to be really on top of it here. Not only are they getting that gold lead from the kills, but DOS Teams has a full clear to get and no neutral objectives to sway him away from these camps, right? And so, sure, Team Unknown has the 3 grubs, but Slick having the dragon is pretty solid. I'm not gonna talk about void grubs as much this game because there's no more side laning, so it's not as good. But I mean, like, we're coming from a meta that has like Tristana and stuff like that, so that's where my eyes are. But now my eyes are mid lane here.
Death gonna get quite a lot of damage down onto Zeus. Death gets stunned against the wall into the ultimate, and Zeus gets his revenge. But Magikarp is there to make it a 1-for-1. Will he make it a 1-for-2? Dust Teams is low, but he is Poppy, and so he is tanky. Magikarp is going to jump away to get the E damage, rather. But no one else goes down, just a 1-for-1 in the mid.
Really impressive timing there from DOS Teams, charging the Hex Slash as Death was landing the bubble, but also a great Aurelion Soul ulti to predict the second Zoe Flash, because she did steal that earlier from the bot fight. So the original Flash is taken down from the appearance of DOS Teams or the Raptor Wall, and then that second Flash was predicted by the Aurelion Soul ulti. Great CC chain to play off of it as well. Unfortunately, Zeus does die, but it costs Magikarp a Flash and ult, which means once this next dragon fight happens, Rigby and Honey Guillotine are going to be a lot safer in the backline because there's no Flash Wukong ult that they have to be worried about.
Can we talk about the top lane for a moment? Because as we can see with all those zeros, it's really boring, but I want to at least draw attention to it because it saddens me as a top laner to see lanes like that. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Difference of farm is 2, and just components of items. They're probably sad. I
will say it is very sad to see. And I will say, I think Garen actually has a lot more agency in this lane than he's showing. Something that a lot of Garen one-tricks will do is especially in a lane like Malphite, is instead of just like interacting with the neutral, he'll shove wave and then proxy, and that proxy will give him timings on the wave while Big Ben is either forced to catch waves on the tower or pressure him off the proxy. He's able to kind of go mess with the jungler, take Raptors, try to kill Wukong on his red buff, even gank mid lane. You see that a lot with top laners like Garen, like Camille post Hydra. And I would have loved to see Image do that because I feel like he's not under a lot of threat.
I agree. Now, speaking of threat, looking here at the bottom lane once again, look at all of the Team Unknown vision around the Drake pit. They definitely want to have some presence here when that Drake spawns in less than 30 seconds. It's really, really dark for the side of Slick. Rigby might be in some huge trouble here. Calavir dodges out the ultimate.
Oh.
Rigby gets caught with the Nami ult as well. Das Team's knocked up yet again, and that's what we talked about. He's able to knock away the Wukong, but Honey Guillotine is all alone. That flash, crucial, because Death got the extended distance by jumping over to the terrain.
That, I feel like that would have hit on me personally if I'm the if I'm the Seraphine, but a weird play there from Slick. I feel like Seraphine ult being the trigger pull and saying that's the way to engage. Not my cup of tea. I would have preferred Poppy being that.
We have the steal?
Engage.
We don't have the steal. Okay.
Close. But I would have loved Poppy to be pinning Lucian into the wall, then layering it with Seraphine R into the EE, because then that's also giving some space for the backline to play off of Wukong once Wukong responds. You're able to have Poppy be that kind of buffer between them. Unfortunately, Rigby, thinking that it was a 2v3, dashing into Magikarp rather than dashing to his own teammate that was Poppy, forces him to just die off rip immediately with Calvier bursting him down. Just a little bit of a weird, rushed play from Slick.
Big Ben might be in some trouble. Poppy is on his way. Dust Teams wants to stop the jump. That is a flash from Big Ben. He should be able to ult into his team. No, he ults back into Image, who flashes away. Magikarp is here, but does not have the ultimate from the last fight. And this is a Grubs contest that will probably be won by Team Unknown.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good rotation there from the Nami. Playing that first move, something that... Oh, wow, we actually get the cancel. But being that something that we haven't seen that much is the support roaming up. It is going to be forcing Calvier to play Cuphead bot lane, facing against Ezreal and Seraphine. Chunk to 1 HP, still has the True Shot Barrage. Does it land?
Oh, it's so close. And
but it's the cloth armor that saved him. Look at that. He has a cloth armor. If he didn't have that, he actually dies. That's crazy.
Amazing. So I'm looking up here. There are only 4 grubs taken. Did we miss some on the first half of the take?
I think they were trying to this second grubs contest. I think they expired as they were trying to take them. I think they were a little delayed. I think that bot fight around Dragon mind controlled them to not think about grubs for a little bit. So unfortunately, all 6 not gonna be on the table. Seraphine ulti gonna be singing to no one. Calvier doesn't want that.
All right, everybody. We are tied 7-7. We're a kill a minute, basically. 1 Drake each. No turrets have gone down, though. And Rigby and Honey Guillotine know that they got to get out of here. I don't think they see Magikarp quite yet, but now they do. Or they at least see someone. So they're going to play it safe, not try and push too hard, because Rift Herald is the prize on the top side. Slick are going to pick that up, and that's good for them.
We have to remind ourselves that this condition, like exact even gold. Okay, excuse me. Oh, there we go. I was gonna say 100 gold up for Slick, but this
Rigby has to be careful. Magikarp goes in with the Cyclone, does not hit anyone, takes a turret shot for his troubles, and that was great awareness coming from the Slick bot lane.
And every single time that Magikarp uses ult and doesn't get a kill off of it is just another tick on the clock going down. The scaling on Slick, it's going to become
wants
crucial.
To go in under the turret. Calavir takes turret aggro instead. Rigby secures the kill. Double teleport now. Image goes on to Kiroro. Dodges out the Aqua Pressing. Gets the silence. Gets the spin. He's going to not use the ultimate because Zeus picks up the kill. Death is going to slow himself down a little bit, but grab some Honey Fruit. Zeus Does not land the ultimate stun, but he gets the slow. Das Team's going to speed himself up, and he gets the kill with the buckler.
The buckler on the backside of the head to clear the kill on Zoe, getting mid tier 1, probably a tier 2 with the Rift Herald being dropped, and bot tier 1. The map is broken open, Slick on the upside, and this is the scaling team comp too. And if I had to pick a time for Slick to win the game, like what was the winning point? What was the turning point? That was the play.
Beautiful play coming out of Slick, turning the engage on its head, catching the Zoe, especially all the way at the end, all the way underneath the turret with the Flash E buckler. If Poppy doesn't have that silly interaction of a passive, Death makes it out. Kiroro in some trouble now. Calavir jumps in to try and save him. There's the tidal wave. The taunt goes onto Kiroro. Charm, rather. Calavir is taking a lot of damage. He's knocked away. Rigby is still alive. Death going in. Not enough damage. Magikarp is going to survive with the clump, but Big Ben is here. He's got a big ultimate right into the singularity. He doesn't have enough damage to kill anybody quite yet. Das Teams does go down. It is a 1-for-1. Big Ben on the chase. Stunned by the ultimate from Zeus. Death flashes forward. Calavir doing a lot of damage here. He gets himself a double kill. Rigby is all alone now underneath his own turret. And Death jumps in trying to get the kill. He has the red buff burn, but it is not quite enough. And this is going to be a second Drake over to the side of Team Unknown.
Team Unknown punishing the overextension of the Slick. They're destroying their tempo. Some people haven't been able to reset just yet. Zeus is one of the big ones that wasn't able to reset after that mid play or that bot play converting into a mid play. Image also was not a part of that game at all.
He's in. He's coming in.
He wants revenge.
He goes on to Big Ben. They don't have a jungler. He gets the first kill. Look at how tanky he is. He slows them down with the Stride Breaker, and they stop the Drake. It's going to reset. It has 400 hit points, and they managed to save it. But Image doing a good job there, stopping one member of the team and almost saving the Drake as a whole. Death is slowed down, hit with the buckler, cannot jump away for now. Image is going in, but Rigby picks up the kill.
And there's going to be a great bot wave here that's contesting the wave on neutral from Team Unknown. That's going to slow down Slick. He's not spotted.
That was so close.
Oh my god. But if there wasn't that wave, okay, it's finally pushing into him. But Team Unknown probably going to be contest on this bot tier 2. I don't think that they're able to really contest it. Their only wave clear of Zoe is dead. Calvier also doesn't have the ult, but it's a flash from Image.
Magikarp is low. Image is low underneath the turret. Dust Teams jumps over, gets a wall slam, and that's a kill. Image dodges out the tidal wave and meets his team back underneath the tier 2. Calavir has a lot of damage. Das Teams will knock Kiroro back toward the Nexus. But look at the TP on the backside. He's going to throw the bubble. Rigby. It's not going to land. It does not hit Rigby. It hits Honey Guillotine. But now Rigby, Death, Image comes in. Death is taken down by Zeus. Health bars are in favor of Team Unknown. They are on the chase. Calavir is going to get slowed down. Big Ben does not have his ultimate, but he does have his flash. He's going to get caught here. Ultimate by Image means that Slick take another few kills.
Rigby got caught by Malphite ulti, but there was no damage to back it up. Calvier, I think, comboing somebody else that was on top of him. I thought that unstoppable force would be enough to flip the fight with Death on the flank, a knife in the back, but the only knife in anyone's back was Death getting stabbed with his own. And Rigby spacing it quite well after the Malphite ulti. He buffered it pretty well with the Arcane Shift, which I do have to give him props for. He's been doing a good job of playing the spacing and playing to his absolute limit, and you kind of have to when you're Ezreal, but Slick looking good when they're playing together and playing on their own tempo.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. The team composition is definitely coming together. When they are in the same spots, they can do so many things. The timings with Aurelion Sol's ultimates, with the singularities to slow them down with that Rylai's. I'm loving the setups. Team Unknown, though, not out of this game quite yet. They're only down 3,000, and they have some very powerful champions as well. They need to make something happen early, though, because you've already talked about the scaling with Ezreal, Seraphine, Garen, and Aurelion Sol.
And look at the items right now. Ezreal's at 2.5. Aurelion Sol is at 2.5. Once these become 3 item carries, that's the turning point for Slick. I feel like Team Unknown has a better 2-item comp, I would say. Lucian and Zoe having 2 items is really solid, and Wukong. But past that, Slick is always going to have the advantage. And when they have the gold lead, like we see right here on our screens, Zoe being down 1.4, Ezreal being up about 600, that is pretty damn scary, if I have to be honest.
But now Death almost gets the kill onto Zeus. He's able to get away with the Astral Flight, but there is no real objective at this point. Exhaust down onto Calavir. A missed ultimate. Magikarp goes in. Burns Rigby's flash. Dust Teams is here. Teleports. Matched. Image goes in onto the clone. Knockback. Malphite is not in this fight anymore. He is hit with the Keeper's Verdict. Magikarp is killed. Oh my gosh, that was huge coming out of Zeus.
Wow. A pinch. The beautiful pinch on top of the True Shot Barrage. Slaughtering all of them. The amount of damage that just did. And Image is able to spin around and wipe up the floor like a mop. Eyes now set onto Baron, Slick. Driver's seat. Fully. They're probably going to be able to get top tier 2 here. Or top tier 1, mid tier 2. If Image wants to be cheeky, he could overstay and go for top tier 2 as well if they're pushing the wave. But Team Unknown now has to just look for scraps.
Flash forward to try and get the sleep onto Image. That is quite a lot of damage. Do they have enough to take him down? He is tanky, but shut down gold over to Big Ben. That was 550. And now the Baron is secured for Slick. They have the push up on the top side, and they're going to go meet at the Dragon.
But Slick already did steal a dragon away, so this isn't sole point for... I mean, this is sole point, right? But this isn't, like, gonna force Slick to make any crazy mistakes. They could give this Drake up if they wanted to. But on the spikes that they probably have right now on this reset, they're probably feeling quite good. I feel like the carries probably are at their 3 items at this point. Poppy might have found his 3rd. But it is 4v5 still, so unless they're able to stall this out.
Oh my gosh. Death able to dodge the body block and hit Honey Guillotine. Zeus on a rampage doing so much damage. Dust Teams doesn't even care about the Drake. He jumps in and gets the stun on the Kiroro. True Shot Barrage goes across 3, picking up 2. Big Ben jumps in, dodge. Rigby is able to dodge out the ultimate and pick himself up the triple kill. The Drake goes the way of Slick. The fight goes the ways of Slick. And this is going to be minions pushing as well.
A funny interaction with Rigby there, because he buffered the Malphite ult, and something about Malphite ult is it's partially an unstoppable, and it's partially a stun, and so Rigby was technically stunned right in front of Calavir's face, but the item difference was showing. He did not die when he was point blank into the Lucian, able to then burst him down, trade it down, and they're going to get mid tier 3, bot tier 2. DOS teams might
this fight
nope.
Easy for Slick.
Yeah, it's there's a big sword from this guy that's gonna be able to save him. And now Slick just in the driver's seat, looking to take this grand finals home.
Game number 2 is definitely delivering here. Slick pushing that tempo that we talked about, getting the turrets like we asked them to do. Calavir jumping in. That's another ultimate from Zeus to stun up Team Unknown. They are stopped. And now Slick makes it out, and the squad from Team Unknown have to try and get something done here.
DOS teams did get hit by the bubble and the Q. The paddle star was able to be followed up, but like you said, he's
Zeus
too
is coming
tanky.
in. Oh, he's got the singularity, and there is Garen. Kiroro goes down. The slow from the Zhonya's is there. Death barely dodges it out, but Zeus with the Astral Flight takes him down as well. And Image in the middle lane says, I dare you.
And not a lot of waves to really, like, be played upon. Rigby's able to get top tier 1, might be able to convert it to top tier 2. Team Unknown trying to match it, but Image is first on the rotation, and Honey Guillotine's right behind.
Big Ben and Magikarp start the fight, but then a huge
Oh
True Shot Barrage on Magikarp means that he gets low. Gets the ult onto Image, but it's not enough as Zeus pops in. They are going to push this top turret. They've got Ezreal and Garen, meaning they have a lot of extra damage on these turrets. Das Team's got the stun onto Big Ben. Zeus with the big ultimate sucks him into the singularity. He's going to make it up with like no health because of the Arcane Comet. And he was so close. They're going to push in onto this tier 3 turret right next to the inhibitor. That's the calling coming out of Calavir. Turret is down. No more defenses. Exhaust down onto Calavir as well. Rigby trying to get him. The barrier keeps him alive for just a little bit. On the backside, Image and Das Teams take yet another kill. This is going to be the top lane inhibitor. Unless Magikarp can make something magical happen. No, inhibitor goes down, and Slick might be looking for the end. Kiroro does not have his ultimate. Magikarp does not have his ultimate. True Shot Barrage takes a third of Kiroro's hit points. The singularity underneath the turret means that they are dealing a lot of damage, and Team Unknown are routed. Team Unknown are killed. Big Ben doesn't have his ultimate either. Do they get the kill onto Rigby even? They can't.
Oh my God.
Because the game is over. Slick are the September champions.